It's your birthday.
It's my birthday today. Welcome back to Reality Armchair, the last episode of the season. It's going to be our last episode until either Traders or probably Survivor again, they said,
You think we'll wait until Survivor to do another season of this?
of Reality Armchair. Well,
There isn't a ton during the summer.
there is what?
There isn't a ton that
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think
premieres.
Survivor's fall, Traders is next year, Challenge is confirmed, but we don't know when that'll be out. But anyway, this is episode 12. What am I stuck on? Episode
13.
Episode 13, season 48, season finale, May 21st. Happens to be my birthday. Had a great birthday. Today's wall is inspired by the fire making challenge. So we have Kid Cudi's Indicud again. Very good record if you haven't listened to it. Very underrated Kid Cudi project in my personal opinion. Just What I Am, and I'll put it up on screen because I can't think of it. Unfuckwittable are like two of my favorite Kid Cudi songs. And then we have Silent Hill 4 soundtrack. I actually haven't opened it yet. I usually listen to these soundtracks while reading horror books or like horror manga. And I just haven't read a ton lately. So that one's still wrapped up. But very good soundtrack. It's pretty dark and more grittier than a lot of the other Silent Hill soundtracks. I think I said this last week. 3 is really underrated, but this one is super underrated. And then we have 21 Pilots, Clancy again. I'm rocked out on 21 Pilots because they actually just announced another album coming in September, which I'm pretty excited about. Lana Del Rey was supposed to release an album today, and I was really excited about that. She announced that.
She didn't release it?
No. She announced it in November. And she kind of joked about it getting delayed like a month ago. And I was like, fuck. So I do
remember you mentioning
I was really, really looking forward to that, but it got delayed.
Bitch.
Yeah, for real. I was really looking forward to those. I mean, those singles were pretty good, so I was really looking forward to the album.
She's busy fucking her alligator man.
Yeah. And then we have New Order Republic. I'm just gonna say, I think it's the best New Order record. I think that would upset a lot of 60-year-olds who listen to New Order, because I can't think of many youthful fans, but it's a pretty underrated project. I think the lead singer said that their last good song is on this album, and I think the whole album is really good. But you're drinking
Samuel Adams
Summer Ale. I'm drinking Four Peaks Brewing Desert Daydream. This is 9% alcohol counts.
Really?
It is a hazy IPA.
Is that why you picked it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's a hazy IPA, very juicy. It's so good. I think this is one of my favorite hazy IPAs, and I usually try, and anytime I go to like a different state or a city, I always try the local beer, and this one's one of my favorites for sure.
Where is Four Peaks Brewery?
I mean, we got it in, but
Should we say that?
I mean, we got it in the Arizona area.
And
in the Arizona area. But I don't know where exactly it's from. Say? Oh, we're on also.
Yeah, Tempe, Arizona.
Oh, okay. We're on Apple Music and Spotify if you want to listen over there. If you want to catch up on the rest of the season in case you were foggy on it, or you just want to,
or see who was closest to.
No.
Who would.
No.
Guess who was in the end.
You don't need. Yeah, never mind. You don't have to listen to them. But they are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you want to listen to them.
He's ridiculous and won't
admit
the fact that I
leave a like on the video. If you liked the video, leave a dislike if you disliked it, or if you think Ariel's out of line.
How am I out of line? I guessed it correctly.
And one thing I wanted to kind of address before I even get into this episode, because I feel like it's heinous what they've done, which is they had a sneak peek preview for the next episode, which is this episode,
the finale,
which was like I think 2 days after the episode came out. They released a sneak peek, and they showed Mitch on jury, and they showed Kamilla wearing the necklace, the immunity necklace. So they spoiled it almost an entire week before the episode came out. It was super lazy, and it was just kind of telling to production like they just don't care. I mean, it was so blatant. Like there's no way that it was like a subtle mishaps. Like, oh, we just overlooked it. Like,
I mean, yeah, Camilla was straight up sitting.
and I think it was 2 shots. It wasn't just 1 shot. It was 2 interviews or 2
No,
confessionals.
she had one interview where she was wearing the necklace and another where she wasn't wearing the necklace.
Okay,
So it was
never mind.
obvious, like in one she's wearing it, the other one she's not.
Either way, it was.
And then the Mitch, you could barely see him, but it was just it was enough to know that he was on the jury.
Yeah, it was enough to tell that it wasn't Eva, it wasn't Joe, it wasn't Kamilla.
Because he was
Kyle.
right after Shaheen.
Yeah, so I think that was just really telling on just how little care has been put into this season, or I think just the series as of late. I could be totally like out of line.
I think that Jeff would
argue
very much disagree with you
before,
because this is apparently his favorite season.
I was about to say that too. I saw on Twitter, I'll put it up on the screen if I can find the quote. Jeff basically said this is his favorite season. He either said it's his favorite season or it's the best season. Either way, it's completely wrong. And a lot of people said that Jeff is the worst fan of Survivor, or Jeff is the worst kind of fan. And yeah, I think I'm really satisfied with who won this season, but I am not satisfied with the season. And I think
I'm not satisfied with how it got there.
And I think overall, it just made me, my perception of Jeff Probst really changed throughout the season.
I agree.
Had a huge amount of respect for him, and I still have a huge amount of respect for him. I mean, what he's built is incredible. It'll probably be never done again, or at least not to this magnitude. And I think he should be proud for what he's accomplished.
At least not with like 50 seasons and so many fans that still watch it.
Yeah, I think he should be, completely proud of what he's done with the show. But I just can't sit back and just be like.
Do you think that our perception of Jeff would have changed as much if we weren't recapping?
I don't think I would voice it as strongly as I am now. Obviously, this show has allowed us to really think about our thoughts of the show, because normally when we watch reality TV, we talk about it during, and we still do, even watching Survivor, we talk about our opinions and feelings. And we will go into a discussion about it, like for, at most like 10 minutes, but we've never sat down and like really fleshed out our opinions and thoughts for over an hour or around an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So it really has made me think about how I feel about the current state of Survivor. And it just so happens to be, in my opinion, the worst season of Survivor that we started filming Reality Armchair, and that we have like the misfortune of covering misfortune. I'm, like I said, this is 9% alcohol, and I've already had 2 beers. So I guess we should just get into the episode. I will say, I don't even think you wrote down many notes until the challenge.
Didn't.
She didn't write any notes until the challenge, and really there wasn't much.
Well, then I went back and made some notes, but
yeah, but there really wasn't much said besides a couple things. I think the thing I want to talk about mostly is what Mitch said.
Well, I did write down that Joe was still wondering if he was duped by Kyle and Kamilla. Yeah. But then Eva's like, no, I really don't think so. I think we made the right choice. And then Mitch was my next note. Do you want to say what he said?
I don't remember what he said.
He said that he was a completely different person from day one.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Because now he is twice as ignorant and naive than he was on day one.
I really feel like they really hyped him up before he left again, and like were so nice to him. And he is a nice guy, but he did not deserve to win. Yeah. He did not have any gameplay. He like constantly talked about making a move and never made it happen. He had chances to make a move. He never made it happen.
He even says this episode, like, I think it's time to make a move, guys. And it's like, bro,
it's too late.
Pack it up. It's over.
Your game was over 3 episodes ago.
I'm jumping, but he even says at Tribal, he says that he has no regrets.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I predicted last week. Is I was like, Mitch is going to be one of the guys who ends his journey and he's going to be like, I have no regrets. I wouldn't do anything different. And it's like, bro, you should have at least minimum 10 regrets, because there are so many opportunities you could have taken to get either Kyle, Joe, Shaheen, or like any of these people
I'm
out.
sure it wasn't good for him to watch this back and see exactly where he could have made a move to last longer.
I still think he's this.
But had he been a better player, he wouldn't even have made it to Final Five.
I mean, yeah, he
would have been voted out way sooner.
Unless he was more in the shadows like Kamilla and Kyle. Yeah, there's really no way he could have made a big move because he didn't really have an alliance to hide behind.
Yeah.
And so, he was just kept around because he was
not doing anything. Yeah. And then they were given an advantage race where they all had these like decoders, and then they had to go through and run through the jungle and find animals, and they had like dots. It
was like dots. It was kind of like
they had to count the dots.
It was kind of like the how they found the immunity idols.
Yeah, they just added the dots this time
on their tribes. I didn't really get it. It didn't really matter either way.
You didn't really get it?
I didn't really.
So earlier on in the season, the letters came from the animal.
Oh yeah.
So,
but why were there dots on it?
So the dots, they had to count. There's the alphabet, and so they would count. What number?
Yeah.
What letter it was in the alphabet.
And Eva won.
She won.
She got the advantage, which is not. It wasn't really a good advantage.
No, thankfully. And it was the word secure. She figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle actually thought that he had gotten it with rescue.
I thought he got it.
You thought he got it?
Well, when he did it, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Rescue, secure. It's kind of the same thing as like listen, silent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it goes to the immunity, and it was a reward as well. And the reward was pasta and chocolate cake. Our cat is making so much noise in there. What is she doing?
I can't see. Ellis.
Pasta and chocolate cake for the reward, which didn't sound that great. And then there's a moment where Jeff actually reminds Joe that there have only been 6 people out of 700 contestants on Survivor that have made the elite.
I have to get Ellis.
That have made the elite immunity challenge contestants. She's gonna start scratching on the door.
I will throw my beer bottle at her.
Ellis. Joe has won 4 immunities, and in order to reach the elite and become the 7th person, he has to win another immunity challenge.
Making it 5. Which he didn't say, but has anyone won 6? Or has it only just been 5?
He did not say. I think probably just to not get ahead of himself, because Joe...
He had an opportunity to go to 6 if he won both of them. But...
Yeah, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Ellis. I didn't even write down like what the challenge was. It was run up over...
Yeah, it was fucking mud crawling through shit.
First they had to run over a net.
Which
then
was
it was
dumb.
Mud. They had to twist through it.
And then they had to throw a
Kamilla
ball.
was the very last to get out. They had to throw the ball. That was where Eva's advantage came in handy.
It was after.
Oh, yeah, after that. Yeah, throw the ball, and it had to go down, and then they had to maneuver the ball through a net. And then after that, it was throwing a ball into another net. And that's where Eva got the advantage.
Which everyone tipped, like, I think people that actually had to throw the ball, that wasn't Eva, took them like 3 tries at most.
I think it took Joe maybe the most tries, or maybe even Kyle. But Kamilla got it on the first one.
Just got mad cat hair all over my sweater.
My bad.
I don't know what our cat is smoking, but they're tripping.
She just wants to go in my studio. Okay, so do we need to start all of that over?
It doesn't matter. Basically, Kamilla is like dead last, and she's like last to everything. So everyone's basically doing the puzzle, and Kamilla is still throwing her ball, and then she throws her ball. She does like the little word puzzle, and then she gets to the actual puzzle, and when she gets there, nobody has done even a single piece. I think by the time she does get there, I think Kyle does his first piece, or Eva does her first piece, and it looks like it's like
I think Kamilla was the first person to get a piece, and then Eva started getting pieces.
Yeah, and it was like pretty neck and neck, and then eventually Eva just lost steam, and then Kamilla just won the whole thing.
Yeah, so she came up from.
And Joe was the
back.
first person to get there.
Yeah, Joe,
he had a huge lead.
had maybe 2 pieces by the end, and
he probably beat Kamilla there by at least a minute, probably even
more.
more.
Way more than that.
Probably like
way
2,
more, like
2
probably
minutes.
like 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
I think he was up there for a long time.
I think it might have been like 3 or 4 minutes, but yeah, he was up there for quite a long time before Kamilla had even gotten there.
But I thought, like, this is why Kamilla won, because there was a puzzle.
Yeah.
And why were there not more puzzles throughout the season? Because puzzles are the great equalizer.
Which this is her second win. So
this is her second win with a puzzle.
What was the first? What was her first win? Was it also a puzzle?
The win. It wasn't a real puzzle. It was a scramble.
Oh yeah. It was like the
arch.
Yeah.
They had to descramble the word too.
It was basically like
kind of a puzzle.
Basically a puzzle.
You had to be smart enough to spell a word.
Yeah, which Joe was not able to do.
And Joe actually did do it, but then he lost with the color of the arrows or whatever.
Oh, that's right.
He actually did lose on the puzzle part of it. So I just wish that they would have had more puzzles and we would have had better outcomes for the immunity challenges. And I think it's super impressive that Kamilla won twice in this season when we had like these beasts at the end who were so like, I'm going to win every immunity.
And again, I'm jumping ahead, but I think, of course, out of all people, David asked about the challenge. Like his question to the final tribal people, like the 3 in the final seat, he asked them like, what about the challenges? Like, how did you shine through them or something? Or I forgot what the question was specifically, but of course that was what he asked. And Eva even says like, oh, I just wanted to compete with the best, and I actually did. I beat you, and I beat Mary. Like I beat 2 strong competitors, and it's like her one win was catered to her.
Yeah,
like completely. Like Mary was never gonna win that.
It's funny to say that Kamilla won 2.
Yeah, over Eva.
And Eva only won once.
And Eva only won because she was against Mary, who has no physical strength, and David, who is too like top heavy to hold onto a pole. Like he just wasn't built for that challenge. He was built for lifting shit and holding shit. While Mary is really not built for anything. But yeah, like of course she won that one.
Yeah.
Like that was just a fucking.
That was her challenge.
Exactly. So I think, I don't know. I think I'm getting ahead. I just wanted to point that out because I feel like I would have forgotten.
Well, so then Kamilla has a chance to choose somebody to go on the reward with her, and out of fucking nowhere, she chooses Eva. Like I did not understand that at all.
I kind of felt it in my heart, like she's gonna pick Eva.
Yeah, you did, and it's just like, why the fuck are you choosing Eva? I just don't. I didn't understand it. I really didn't.
And I really want to look up. I think when the stats are all out, when the season is like marinated for a little bit, I want to look up who has gone on the most rewards because I
feel like it's Eva.
I feel like it has to be Eva, and it's crazy. Like. I even mentioned it when the challenge started, when Jeff is like, this is also a reward, and you're fighting for pasta and cake. And Eva is the only person. She's the
most excited person.
Eva is the only person who's excited. And it's like in her head, she's like, I'm already going.
I'm already eating.
Like, oh my God, I'm so excited. This is what I get to eat today.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's just annoying.
I just, yeah.
Other people deserve rewards. And because she goes on all these rewards, she's taking it from somebody else.
Yeah.
Who has applied all these years to be on Survivor and wants to be a part of these rewards, and she's literally taking it from somebody, and it's just like, it's so frustrating.
I feel like the entitlement and the kind of like babying of Eva and like really catering to her this season has really gotten under my skin,
out of control.
And I think it kind of came to like a climax with the final tribal, because she's just like, the way she's talking and the way she's presenting herself, it's like
she thought that she deserved to win.
Yeah. And it's like, you would, if you just looked at the whole, I mean, obviously she's not going to say I don't deserve the $1 million, but her just excuse for wanting the $1 million, or like her
reasoning
for wanting to win, is so like shallow. It was basically based off of like, I know I really haven't done anything, but I want, this season to represent an odd character, you know, like somebody who doesn't typically win.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody with autism. It's like that just can't be the entire story to why we give somebody $1 million fucking dollars.
Not on this show.
Yeah, it made no sense.
So they eat pasta, they come back. And while I was watching it, I was like, what connection do you have to Eva, Kamilla? Like, what?
She's picked her twice.
What do you gain from choosing Eva for lunch? Like, why not choose Kyle, who you're going to come back and tell him that you're not going to choose him if you win the next one. Anyways, I just thought that was so crazy to choose Eva. And then Kamilla and Eva come back, and Kamilla tells Mitch that she's voting him out. And then he tells everyone, and they all agree. Like, yep, Mitch, you're too likable. We're gonna get you out. Joe says it's out of mad respect or something like that.
Fucking
all
hate
respect. That. And then
he says it all the way up until tribal.
Yeah.
I just, it's just, I have so much respect for you, bro. That's why I gotta do it, is because you're just such a big threat. When it's like, we both know he's not a threat. We all know that he's like the GOAT. Like, and you're not throwing his name, or you're not gonna save him because you want to compete with the best, and you've already made all these alliances with your homies. And the only other option would be Kamilla, and nobody's really pushing for it because, well, actually she won, so there's really no option for Kamilla to go in. I think it could have been a conversation had Kamilla not won.
Yeah.
But because we're not going to vote out somebody from our alliance, you're gone. And I mean, Mitch should have seen this coming from a mile away. I mean, really, I feel, at first I felt no sympathy for Mitch because he's been saying time and time after again, even after the challenge is over, he's pulling Kyle to the side. He's like, I think it's time to make a move, guys. And it's like, bro,
no,
pack up.
Yeah,
it's time to go.
Because he actually said to Kyle, I should have made a move.
Yeah.
And I was going to say that Kyle and Kamilla's reasoning for getting Mitch out is because they think he's going to be a vote for them. So their reasoning for getting him out is different than what Eva and Joe want to get him out for. Excuse you. She does not like to swallow
that's strong. Yeah, and he's kind of going on this tour of people, like, talking to them, and they're all like, yeah, I think it's going to be you. I think he talked to everybody besides Kamilla. Or at least they didn't show it, or it wasn't really.
Mitch?
Yeah. Did he talk to Kamilla?
He talked to Kamilla first. Kamilla was the one that told him, I'm going to vote you out.
Oh, yeah. You're right. And she was basically like, it's just like, take it as a compliment. And then Joe says it's out of respect. And then Kyle's like, yeah, bro, there's nothing we can do.
Thanks for repeating everything we just said.
Yeah. And then there's just this look on Mitch's face where
it was sad.
You feel really sad for him, and then he starts.
But then you're like, dude, you should have made a move. You should have trusted Star to make a move. You could have gotten further.
Yeah, because he's always like, I just got to make it to final six. That's all I got to do is make the final. It's like, bro, you're not thinking long term. Because you make the final six with 4 people from an alliance, you're gonna be voted out.
Yep,
that's just how it works. And he was.
Take this off.
Was there a sweater? You're hot.
Mm-hmm.
He says that it really sucks to be voted out because you're a likable guy. He says that's the worst way to go.
Which, yeah, that's not the best way to go. You should be voted out because you're a great player.
Yeah. I feel like I turned around a little bit on Mitch. I still think he's a horrible, horrible Survivor player. I think he's one of the worst Survivor players I've seen in a long time. And I don't think he deserved to win. I don't even think he deserved to make it to merge.
No. Do you remember the old lady?
Where's he?
No, the one from last season. That was
Sue?
like, yeah, had dirt on her face all the time.
Sue was horrible.
I guess she was like, she at least got an idol, but the way she got it was like, lady, true. What the hell?
Sue was pretty bad, but
she thought that she was passing for 40s.
Yeah, that's true.
What the hell is on me?
I was just saying that I think that I've turned around a little bit on Mitch. I think he's a horrible, horrible, horrible contestant and player on Survivor, but I feel like he's genuine, and I just wish he would have.
Sure, he's a nice guy.
I wish he would have done more for himself,
yeah.
And I wish he would have given himself an opportunity to make it further, and that he can actually say he's proud. I mean, sure, he will say he's proud of his game, but there's really nothing to be proud of. It was a horrible game. He literally only made it because he was not a threat, and he was the likable guy on the beach. Anything.
But Yeah, I mean, what else is he gonna say? I played the worst game.
He should. I mean, he should own it up and be like, you know what, guys? I had multiple opportunities to take out Joe and Eva and this alliance, but I just said, yeah, I don't trust Star, so I'm not going to do it, which is like horrible reasoning. There have been people who hate each other even more so than he dislikes Star, and he doesn't even dislike Star. He just doesn't trust her. There have been people on Survivor who, can't trust them with like anything, and they'll still band together and make moves because that's what you got to do when you're playing
because
Survivor.
you're getting through every day. You're not.
Yeah.
It just bothered me. So I didn't really have much sympathy for Mitch, but it's sad to see him.
It was sad to see him come to the realization. Like to see it like, oh shit, I lost.
I should have made a move.
Like
that's what he literally said.
He basically found out he lost before he even got to tribal. And then, they get to tribal and Jeff basically says what he always says. And he's like, so you guys kind of came to the conclusion, and they talk about it just a little bit and then they vote pretty quickly.
Well, one other thing is that Eva played her idol, which I guess I don't remember them saying that the idol could be played at Final 5.
I thought it was Final 6.
I thought it was Final 6, which I feel like most seasons it is Final 6.
Yeah, I don't think you should be allowed to play an idol. If you can't play a shot in the dark at Final 5, you shouldn't be allowed to play.
Which it didn't seem like you could play a shot in the dark, because he would
have if he had the opportunity. But like, if you can't play a shot in the dark at Final 5, you shouldn't be allowed to play an idol at Final 5, because that's crazy. That is crazy. Guaranteeing that you're gonna make it to fire, which is insane.
Which is also just so crazy that Star gave that to Eva in the first place.
Oh my god, it was so heartbroken for Star because she gives Jeff the idol and they cut to Star and she's like, fuck, that's my idol. That's what would have kept me in the game.
But then Star still votes for her in the end to win.
Yeah, which is like, I thought was crazy. I think maybe she was like, maybe if I give the win to somebody who took my idol, it won't look as embarrassing because they won the whole game. But she basically burned the idol because nobody voted for her this entire season. I think maybe the only person that voted for her was Charity or Say, but like she was never in consideration to be voted out. She was never in any danger. So the fact that she had this idol she wasted, and she had this safety without power that she also didn't use.
Yeah, so many advantages.
It's really disheartening to see somebody
a player who doesn't need them,
who doesn't need it, and
hoard them.
Yeah, basically hoarded it from somebody who actually needed it. Like, she should have been like, hey Star, I know you're kind of probably going to get voted out, don't tell anybody, but I'm going to give your idol back, and then you can
she would never.
Because she's not thinking about anyone outside of Joe and her alliance, I guess, because that was another thing she harps on at the end of the final tribals, that like, I didn't use my safety without power because it was more important to keep my alliance safe. Even though her alliance was never in any danger, they were never in a situation where they needed Eva's vote. They never needed Eva's vote. They had the majority the entire time.
Yeah.
So I feel like everything she says is kind of for nothing, because the game wouldn't have been changed had she not really been in it, or like had she just like not voted. If like, let's say for every tribal she didn't have a vote and nobody knew, the game would not have been affected at all.
Yeah, well, and she tries to say that she saved her alliance, or like she gave an advantage to her alliance by saving her vote, like not saving herself and being there to vote with her alliance, and basically saying like, I had this in my fanny pack, but she was so selfless that she didn't use it. She didn't walk off even though save herself. She didn't use it because she didn't need it. She didn't need it. She literally did not need it. Not a single opportunity where she was like, "Oh, I think I might need to use this." No. Well, it might have been Charity like really early on, but I feel like after Cedric got voted out, I don't think she got a single vote. Yeah. So then we're down to Final 4. It's the two duos, secret and public duo, which I thought was cool, and I really thought if one duo wins, that means the other duo is making fire. That's really how it looked. Yeah. So Kamilla, that's when Kamilla actually tells Kyle she thinks her best chance at winning would be to not be next to him. So she says, if I win, you're making fire. Yeah. And horrible move. Horrible move to tell him that. Because I honestly think he would have brought Nerd. I feel like he would have had those emotions. Like,
he would have maybe thought about it, but
because he ends up being indebted to Joe.
Well, because immediately after that conversation, he goes to Joe and is like, "Bro, I got you."
No, Joe asked him, "Are you going to take?"
Oh, is that what he says?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, what are you doing?
But it was immediately after the conversation with Kamilla.
And it also showed that Joe and Eva told each other that they were taking, or they just said it in their interviews,
which we didn't need to see.
No, but yeah. So Joe solidifies that he's going to Final 3 without having to make fire both ways. Because he doesn't think Camilla's going to win.
Basically, if Kamilla wins, then he's not making it to Final 3. But
he didn't even. I don't think he even
he didn't even entertain it.
So yeah, that was a bummer to see. And then they do go to immunity, and it's a Samotion. And
what is it called?
Samotion.
Samotion. That's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And Kyle ends up winning. Did you want to say more about it?
No, I mean, yeah. I do want to point out that Eva started crying, which is great.
Mm-hmm. She was very frustrated.
She
lost. Was first one out.
She lost immediately. Not immediately, but she lost pretty quick. I think
with
2 balls.
Was it just 2?
It might have been 2 or 3 balls.
I think it was 3. I think it was right after 3.
Yeah, and she lost, and she was like, and then she started crying. It was great.
I would have told her to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I'm trying to fucking focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I even said, like, I think I would be pretty good at this, but, Jeff, he was just smacking those lips. Like, he would definitely get in my ear.
I would tell Jeff to shut up.
I would have to tell Jeff, like, bro, please.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a pretty good challenge. I think the way Jeff approached it, he wasn't too annoying. I think he was kind of adding to the buildup of it, and he wasn't being too annoying. And
he does have to tell them when to add a ball.
Yeah, and I think everybody was really locked in.
Joe actually made it further than I thought he would.
Joe, yeah, I thought Joe might have been out first, but Joe
was.
He looked really
second.
Serious. Yeah, he was neck and neck with Kyle. Kyle won. He made it to Final 3, and again, he just got this new information from Kamilla saying, "Hey, if I win."
Whoa.
If I win, then you're...
Oh my god.
The AC just turned on and, like, blew the tinfoil that we have on the chairs for the cats not to scratch on. Yeah, he basically is hot off of this information that...
Well, and promising Joe that
promising Joe, and Camilla's telling him that I'm not going to take you to Final 3. You're going to have to make fire. So I think it would have been more of a conversation be had. But he even tells Joe, bro, as soon as the necklace was on, I was thinking about you.
I already knew I was taking
you. And it was like, all right. So he basically makes that promise. And it's like, it's kind of boring because it's like, we don't even need the conversation. It's just, we're just showing people, because he tells Eva first, he tells Kamilla next, like, bro, you're making fire. Sorry, that's just how it's going to be. I already made this promise to Joe. And Eva takes it pretty difficult. I think she wants to cry, or she's like starting to tear up, and then she starts practicing her fire, and it looks like Camilla's doing pretty good. Like
she's doing well in her practice.
She's doing pretty decent. And they show Eva struggling pretty hard to the point where she
literally breaks down. I wanted to say before we get there that I really think that this move of Kyle's, obviously it ends up working out for him because he wins, but with having more integrity to take Joe, a man, over Kamilla, who was his actual number 1 this entire game, just felt kind of icky to me. And I get it that Kamilla said that, and I think that literally released him from this emotional burden.
I think had Kamilla not had that conversation, he still
I think he would have at least had a harder time with doing that. And it was so easy for him to do that because she said that.
Yeah, had they not have that conversation, I would have been personally offended for Kamilla had he made that decision to basically tell Joe, you got to go ahead to make it to Final 3 if I win. And again, it's pretty ridiculous because if Joe wins, he's not bringing Kyle. He even said, oh, no question, I'm bringing Eva. Like, we don't even have to talk about it.
So it would have been Kyle and Kamilla in fire.
Yeah.
And one of them would have won either way.
I think Kyle would have won, but yes.
No, I'm saying just whoever won at fire would have won the game.
Probably.
Because Kyle and Kamilla
have the biggest resume.
And they undermined
Oh, that was so
Joe
great.
and Eva's game,
Yeah,
which
that
was amazing.
That was probably my favorite moment of the whole
Yeah.
series. I'm not the series, the whole season. I think even beating David going home, that was so great. But we're getting ahead. Basically, we get to
So Eva's sobbing in the jungle.
Yeah, like sobbing.
And Kyle
so
is
hard.
like both Kyle and Joe are laying down, and we thought it was weird that Joe wasn't like helping Eva in the first place. Maybe she said, "I need to do this on my own," but so she starts sobbing, and Kyle's like, "Dude,
it's pretty funny.
What is happening? Like, go check on her. I think somebody needs to check on her."
Yeah.
And Joe's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go," and then Kyle is literally like breaking down. You can literally see it on him that he cannot handle. He cannot handle the sound of Eva sobbing, and he actually questions whether he should take Eva's spot to go into fire and go against Kamilla.
He even goes as far as starting to practice fire.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So crazy, because it was just like literally Eva's sobbing, and I don't think that she's doing it on purpose, but like her sobbing is making these men around her just so frantic. They cannot stand to hear her have a breakdown, and they are willing to take their chance at winning away to take that burden off of her so that she won't sob.
Yeah, I think it was
because Joe also said to Eva, "Let me do this for you."
Yeah, he even says, "Bro, let me just go in for you. Let me just do the fire," and she's like insisting that she needs to do it herself.
Which at least she did that.
But... Yeah, I would have been like, "Holy shit!" Had she been like, "Okay, Joe, you can go in."
Okay, please do it.
Yeah,
that would have been actually insane.
Yeah, he probably would have been like, "Whoa, I don't know, I wasn't being that serious."
No, I think he would have done it.
I mean, he would have absolutely done it, but I think internally he would have been like, "Okay, well, I didn't think he would actually say that." But
which, let's get to. Are you ready to get to the fire making?
I don't think there's anything else. I mean, they again after Joe is consoling Eva, they show kind of Kyle reflecting. He's like, "I think I might have to go in and do it myself." And
I think they showed that actually before Joe said that.
Oh, was it before? Yeah, and he's like practicing fire, and it's like, bro, I really thought he might throw himself in. I'm so glad that he came to his senses when he got to the tribal, because that would have been
just because Joe started practicing with Eva, and she actually started to make fire. She stopped sobbing. She got herself under control.
And then they show after that the last clip of somebody practicing as Kamilla, and she's kind of struggling a little bit.
A little bit, but then this whole episode, there was the old Kamilla versus new Kamilla. Like, old Kamilla would talk down to herself and tell her she can't do it, and new Kamilla has more confidence and knows that she can make it through. So that was like another scene of old versus new Kamilla, and she was like telling herself, "No, I'm doing something wrong. I just need to learn how to do it better." So then she's like talking to herself, "I need more magnesium. I need like to do this." And you see her actually make a better fire. But so then we get to tribal council, and it's Eva versus Kamilla. And it was probably the worst fire making challenge I've ever seen. For sure.
It was pretty bad.
It was, I mean, the other player, like, maybe it's probably happened before. I feel like it has. But Kamilla didn't even get a fucking spark. She didn't even get a flame.
She got a little tiny flame,
for a
but
second.
She suffocated it pretty fast.
For a second.
Yeah.
And Eva even had a time where her fire dulled, and had Kamilla even started a fire, she probably could have beat her. And it was just so sad to watch Kamilla's game go down like that.
And it's the old Kamilla, because she starts like,
she literally was standing there saying like,
I'm bad,
I'm choking, I'm doing all these things, and Eva, you're doing great. She like literally encourages Eva.
She was talking down on herself quite a bit, and it felt like she was regressing as the player and as a person, which really was sad to see.
It was.
She was choking pretty hard, and Eva kind of dog walked her, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And she got a fire pretty big, and then
the thing is with Eva, she had the encouragement from her two guys sitting there.
Yeah, even Kyle was rooting for Eva.
Yeah, Kyle was rooting for Eva because he did not want to sit next to Kamilla.
Yeah.
And it was just so like.
And as soon as her flame starts to go down, which it does go down considerably, Eva starts panicking really bad, and she starts crying.
Yeah,
and even Kamilla is like, "You got this, girl. I don't even have a single flame." And then she ends up getting it again, and the fire starts raging again, and she wins. And it's like, it was pretty defeating to watch. I think it would have made for a way more entertaining final three had Kamilla gotten there, because there would have been more conversation to be had with resumes and all that.
Yeah.
But Eva being there, it's like there's nothing to say for Eva besides I'm autistic.
Yeah. So we honestly skipped ahead after that.
We didn't even watch the Brad
We didn't
Chris.
even watch like the next day until the tribal, because it's just always bullshit, honestly. Like, even with players that I like, I don't really want to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, I think especially when you're watching it weekly and you're kind of like familiar with everything. I think it's even worse when you're binging the show. Like, we binged season 20 or 30, the superheroes versus or supers versus villains or whatever. And then get to the final three, and it's like after you've spent like 4 days watching this entire season, and you're like, all right, I think I remember all these moments. Like, I don't need you guys to rehash it. And they do that. They're like talking about these moments that happen, and like, you just don't need to hear it. Like, I remember it, trust me.
Yeah.
I think it's good if you're like watching this season month at a time, like, if you're like watching an episode a month, but it really is, it feels unnecessary, especially when the episode is so long.
Yeah.
It started at 7 p.m. and it ended at 10 p.m. Like, what the fuck? Like, there was not that much content that needed to be made.
So long. So
I'm getting a beer.
You're getting another one?
I'm thirsty.
Okay. Kyle, Joe, and Eva. And I felt like the face that Joe made right before the jury starts asking questions was a face of, I've got this. I've got this. I'm not worried at all. And then
the way he talks throughout this tribal, it feels like that.
He did not prepare. I didn't hear any preparation in what he had to say. And I didn't take any notes on like the questions, because I didn't even really feel like they were that great of questions. They actually they were set up to answer great questions,
and they were never taken.
They weren't taken. And there was one where it was like talking about relationships, and all we heard from was Joe and Eva.
There was two, actually.
There were two questions that Kyle had a chance to talk about Kamilla, and he didn't do it. And I was just like, did they cut? Like, they didn't cut it because we see their reaction to when he finally brings it up, but it was just so weird.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just want to point out the two questions. One of them is, how has your relationships within this game like gotten you further in the game, or something like that, something along those lines. And then the second one is, what is a secret that we don't know about you? Which is like the perfect question for Kyle to be like, well, you guys don't know that I've been paired up with Kamilla this entire time. But no, he's like, I was incarcerated for being an alcoholic.
And I'm a lawyer.
Yeah, and then I'm a lawyer, which did blow Chrissy's mind.
Yeah. And
it seemed like he had Chrissy's vote on lock throughout the entire tribal, because she was really like blown away.
The one person on the jury,
yeah,
that actually cares.
I actually have a lot more respect. Gameplay. I have a lot more respect for Chrissy than I think I gave her credit for. I predicted that she was going to be the GOAT, and that she would be like a pushover that would make it to the end, because she'd be an easy win to win against. But she actually got voted out because she was pushing back too much initially. Like, she wanted to get alliance. She even like wanted to get Mitch out, who was someone she was aligned with, because she thought he might have been a big threat. Little did she know he was the weakest threat and like not on anybody's radar. But I really like Chrissy. I came out of the season really appreciating Chrissy a lot more as a contestant.
I wish she had better people to play with.
I feel like that's the case for a lot of not a lot, but a couple of the people on this season. Like, I feel like Say deserved a better season. I feel like Mary, I think she got a little dumb towards the end, but I think she deserved a better season to play with people. I think I
was fine with what Mary ended up with.
Obviously, Kyle and Kamilla deserved better contestants, but they still made the most out of this season and got as far as you can really go. But they honestly deserve better opponents, because this was kind of a cakewalk considering how dumb these people were, honestly.
Yeah.
At least the people that were running the game.
Can you imagine if Thomas
Yeah.
and Chrissy were
Thomas-
able to have gameplay
Again,
together?
Thomas deserved a better season. He kind of just got, that was so like
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah. So it was Joe and Eva. So Eva was mostly like, I'm so grateful for Joe. He was my number one. Our relationship was solid from day one. And it was actually Chrissy who said, only one of yous can win. That's the title of the episode. So she was reminding Eva, like, you know what? Like, cool that you have this relationship, but where does that get you with you winning $1 million? Because only one of you can win. And if you played the same game, like, who am I going to vote for between the two of you? Like, that's ridiculous.
And they basically doubled down. They're like, well, that's, we still wouldn't have changed anything. Or
what Joe ended up saying was, I'm not going to put Eva down to win. So I'm going to say how I played and Eva's going to say how she played. Yeah. And you can decide who played the better game. And it was just like, dude, neither of you played the better game. Yeah. And Kyle actually beat both of you. So it was just funny the way that he said that. And it wasn't until, did you want to say anything more about their answers?
I did. I don't know if this is it before or after, but I didn't want to point out, I don't think it really matters on when we talk about it because this is the climax of what we're about to say, but I did want to point out David is like mean mugging the entire time he's voted out, on the entire time he's been on jury. Yeah. He's been like Clint Eastwood looking at everybody like really like squeezing his jaw to make it like more defined. And then he finally is like, knock, knock. And then
they're like, who's there?
And then I forget what he says. It was something dumb.
He's like, it's me.
No, he says it's not me because I'm not there. Something like that. He says something really fucking dumb. And then it's like his whole face contorts back to like being a normal person. Yeah. And it's like, holy shit, that's what David actually looks like. Yeah. It's not just like this serious asshole.
It was pretty funny.
It was pretty funny.
It was pretty funny.
And I thought it was so bizarre, but I was like, okay. And he basically put on this act to make them nervous whenever he was there, which is I think worked because they're like, well, shit,
they were like, yeah, I was nervous about you.
I don't know who he's gonna vote for.
Yeah.
Which is how I felt. I'm like, damn, he's really bitter. Like, who is he gonna vote for?
I did wonder, like, what are we gonna get from David?
Yeah, and then of course he asked about like challenges and like what.
Yeah, just the dumbest question.
The importance of the challenges, and they all give such a dumb answer because it's a dumb fucking question.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then
I think that's when the next question is for Kyle.
Is it from?
Well, actually,
Shaheen?
No. It was what gameplay. What was it? I don't remember exactly what the question was, but it's where Eva starts talking about getting Shaheen out. And she claims that as her gameplay. Yeah. She claims that as her move. And it was amazing to see Kamilla and Kyle like talking to each other through this while Eva's giving this answer. And Camilla's like, I got you. And so Eva claims this move, saying that she knew that Shaheen wanted to separate Joe and Eva, so she got Shaheen out.
Which is not even remotely true. Like, no. even if what she thinks happened, it was Joe. It was who ultimately made it. And like, had Kyle not told Joe about this idol that didn't exist.
Actually, you know what? Maybe it was Eva who made that decision because Joe was questioning whether to trust Kyle.
But still, had Kyle not told Joe about this fake idol that didn't exist, which then Joe told Eva, this would have never happened. So the fact that she's not even like mentioning that Kyle came to them first about this information, it's just lying.
Well, it just shows how
naive
much they're not playing the game.
Yeah.
And how wrapped up they are in their own reality.
That question was played so perfectly.
Revealing.
And like they both got played so hard. And when Kyle starts talking, I wish I could really like watch back because Eva's face is just in disbelief. She's like, holy shit. I just lost $1 million by this dumb question.
I honestly am not even sure that I watched Eva's face.
She was like this, like
I remember
and
her.
Like this.
I remember her reaction to Kyle saying me and Kamilla were working together. She was like,
Oh yeah, she was pretty blown away by that.
And it was a funny face. Like, the fuck? No, there's not another duo here.
Yeah.
I'm the only duo
You
with
guys
Joe.
weren't public about it. Yes.
So it was amazing that Kamilla, she was like, actually, Kyle, I'd like to hear your point of view on the Shaheen vote.
Yeah, because Kyle wasn't stepping up.
Yeah, he had to be set up for that.
Yeah, because Eva just kept yapping, and then Camilla's like, "Well, can I hear your opinion, Kyle?" And then he obviously reveals what actually happened, and then that's when Joe and Eva are like, "Yo, what the fuck? We just got played."
Well, and it showed to the jury that Kamilla and Kyle undermined their game without them actually even saying it.
Because that's when it was revealed that they were together this entire time, and
they started playing music behind Kyle's answer, and it was like he's
won.
winning.
He won.
And that's kind of all that I remember from
I really thought Joe was going to bring up his sister, which he doesn't.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I think that could have maybe swayed a couple more jurors, but
possibly because his final words were, "I'm a dad. Lame. I take care of people all the time, so I'd love to take care of my kids now."
Yeah, and then the only person that works on is Cedric, who's also a contender for one of the dumbest fucking players to ever play this game.
Yeah, it should have been Say on the jury.
Yeah.
And then Eva's answer is that she thinks that season 48 has been unprecedented, and that's all they've been saying about this season. So they should select Eva as the winner to be the
We should also mention winner. That pretty much every question that was asked to Eva,
she mentioned her autism.
She mentions her autism in that. And there is something I've wanted to bring up for a kind of a while. I just kind of bit my tongue about it because I don't want to like project and tell people how to feel about autism, but Eva,
you should probably mention that you have
autism. I have autism and ADHD. I have specifically high functioning autism and Asperger's. And Eva says something. She says that she doesn't feel like she has any weaknesses, and she says, because that's the question, is like, well,
that was the first one.
What is your weakness? I think Cedric asked it. He says, what is your weakness? And Eva says,
she says,
I don't like to consider it as a weakness because it's not,
but it does cause weaknesses within myself.
And then she mentions her autism, and I don't like this notion because there's this notion with people with autism, or I think mostly from parents and family members with,
and RFK Jr.
and people like that are talking about people with autism like that. I guess not RFK because he's in the opposite direction, but what I'm about to say might be a little controversial.
Yeah,
but
I don't know what you're saying. So had to throw that in there.
Basically, Eva basically comes down to like autism is not a weakness and not a disability, which it just objectively is not true.
Well, she didn't say it's not a disability.
Well, yeah, I think she says it's not her weakness, and there's this notion with autism, and I think it was kind of trying to paint this narrative the entire season. I feel like the autism stuff was such a focal point of the season, and like trying to empower people with autism, which I think is perfect, but I think kind of dismissing autism as something that is what it's not, like that it is a weakness, that it is a disability, and something that is very hard to overcome and to like deal with. I don't really like that notion, and I think Eva is kind of championing that narrative that autism is, this like superpower. That's what I heard a lot as a kid, like, oh, you should be so grateful that you have this superpower. And it's like, no, bro, it really sucks. And I think with just the way that it was portrayed with Eva throughout this entire season, we actually saw a commercial during this because we were watching this on YouTube TV. They have a For Your Consideration commercial, which I think is for the Emmys. They have the highlights of the moments. And the first one, I think, is of Mitch talking about his disability, and Jeff asking about, do you want people to finish your sentences when you're stuttering? And then it's like an emotional moment. And then the next clip is
Joe and Eva
and her meltdown.
In multiple moments.
Yeah, and it's like, this is really what you guys are setting up for. Like, this is really what you guys want.
You want to win that Emmy.
You want to win that Emmy. You want people to look at this show as like, this is a show where we're making moments past gameplay, past politics, like past strategic moves. We're just trying to make moments of like these people and trying to like basically circus act like these disabilities and issues, and I think it's just going to get even more prevalent throughout as the season goes. Like there's going to be somebody with one leg or somebody with who's more openly trans. I think there has been who was it?
Zeke was outed.
Zeke was outed.
Yeah.
And Zeke was, I think, a pretty subtle.
Nobody knew.
Who outed him?
I think it was a gay guy.
Yeah, but I think that was like, not. I don't think it was the start.
That was so awful.
I don't think that was the start, but I think that was like a spectacle was made out of him, and I feel like.
Well, and they did say that they asked Zeke if it was okay to include that in
the broadcast. Yeah, and he was like, I just want.
I think he accepted it.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was not part of his gameplay. He did not want that to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, with you talking about this, like I do feel in other seasons, it's felt more genuine when things like this have come up. And in this season, I feel like it was like thrown in your face.
Well, that and Eva kept harping on like, I don't want this to be like what defines me. And
yet she had to bring it up in every.
She brings it up every single time, and it is what made her get to the end. Had she not revealed this autism, had she not revealed like
there's no way that she would have made it.
She wouldn't have made it. Like she was covered on this blanket of like, oh, we can't vote out Eva. She has autism, or like she is like this sweet girl that is, let's just keep bringing her along. And same with Mitch. Like, I don't think it was as bad with Mitch, but like, he's a likable guy. He has this quirk, I guess you could say, and I think it's frustrating. I think even last season, it wasn't. I don't even think this is bad, but like Teenie was struggling with her identity issues, with her gender identity, and that felt so genuine and so like natural and not made into a spectacle,
because she's not casted because of what she was going through.
Yeah, I think their telling of like what happened with them, and like I don't know their pronouns, so I'm just gonna
Teenie was she, her on the show.
She, her on the show. Yeah. I'm just gonna say they, but they were at the end was explaining that they had this inner conflict with Sam, because Sam is like this perfect representation of what they want to be, which is like this masculine man and like confident, suave kind of guy. And I think that whole story can be told on a show like Survivor, but when it becomes like your gameplay, and even if it's like subconsciously or like not intentional, I think that's when it starts hindering the show, because like I don't want to see somebody make it further into the game because they have a disability, and Eva has a disability.
Well, and that was on display with the way that Kyle reacted to hearing her sob.
Exactly. Like he wouldn't have even considered throwing himself in to fire if Eva wasn't breaking down. Mm-hmm. And normal people do not break down like that. That is an autistic thing. Mm-hmm. And it sucks, but that's true. And I don't think Eva should be like shamed for it, but I don't think that she should be babied into this to where it's acceptable to be like, I'm going to throw away my $1 million because Eva is,
I have to protect her,
having a breakdown.
So which is what Joe was doing. Yeah, I had this epiphany of like, I feel like Eva surrounds herself with men because men react the most to her freaking out or having these breakdowns. They don't want to hear her cry. They care about her. They don't want to hear her have these troubles. So they will come to her aid as soon. This is probably pretty bad to say.
I mean, I do feel like this, and I do want to put like.
I just feel like maybe this is something that she is doing subconsciously.
Exactly. And I want to put a disclaimer, like this is not.
This is not to like disparage autism.
Or to
I just feel like this is what I saw of Eva through this show. Like she on multiple accounts had said, I don't like hanging out with women. Like I don't relate to women. I don't like being around them. And she literally did not show any respect for other women. Like I didn't see that once from her. And I mean, she might be able to say like, yeah, good job, Kamilla, but it's on a different level of actually respecting the men that she surrounded herself with. And that was when I turned on Eva. Like when I lost so much respect for her because she couldn't like see the difference in respecting men and women. Like there was a very huge difference in the way that she did that. And I just feel like she subconsciously surrounds herself with men because of that. Like she wants to be this strong woman, and she is a strong woman. And it's just like in moments like that, to see the way that Kyle and Joe reacted to her sobbing, it just showed me like this is probably how a lot of men react to her.
Yeah. And especially someone like Joe who has kids.
Yeah.
And who is more susceptible to being triggered by that kind of emotion, like coming from someone like that. Like, and I would probably feel the same way. Like, you know, if I was on the show and my daughter is like 15 now, or I guess however old his daughter is, and he's seen a lot of them into Eva, like I would feel kind of the same emotion that he probably feels. And I feel like that was kind of taken advantage of.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I can't say that Eva was doing it on purpose. Like
I don't think so.
I don't think she was.
And I don't think she would ever admit it if it was, because I think my issue is that Eva is like saying that she should win this $1 million is because she thinks that this oddball season should be represented by an oddball and somebody that represents kind of like a different kind of winner. And it's like, you say, you know, autism isn't like a crutch or like something.
The word she used was unprecedented.
Unprecedented. And I think you can't just completely rely on that. Mm-hmm. Like you gotta.
Well, you can't have it both ways. Like you can't say this is not what my weakness. This is not what defines me. But then also in the same notion, say this is why I should be the winner of season 48.
And again, her whole gameplay is that she revealed to the entire cast that she has autism, which then gave her this blanket of immunity where they're like, we're not going to vote her out. And even though that's not something that has really been talked about or something that has been acknowledged, I think that's something a lot of people have felt. I think even Charity, especially, she's even been on Twitter, or not on Twitter, but on Instagram, kind of shit talking. And I think it's a little mean, but it is true. Like
it's just what happened.
It's true. Like,
and the other thing that happened was the fucking game catering to her, like literally giving her an advantage.
Yeah, it really felt, and it even felt like Jeff wanted her to win.
It did feel that way.
Like a lot of the questions after when they were doing the reunion or like the catch up was directed
very focused on
towards Eva. And just trying to make another moment before the season ends. You know, while we still have the autistic girl, let's make one more moment. That's just how it feels with Jeff. And I think it's put a bitter taste in my mouth with how he's kind of approached the show, at least when talking to certain contestants.
Yeah, I feel like we're rather negative about this season.
So negative.
And it's not a good look for our first season, first series for Reality Armchair.
If we had done this Reality Armchair last season, I would have been over the moon.
Yeah, I loved Rachel.
That was a great season.
I thought she was amazing.
Her conflict with Genevieve was great. Andy was great. Project Italy was amazing. That was a fantastic cast. Sam, it was great.
Yeah.
This season fucking sucked. Kyle and Kamilla were the only good people in the entire season, and had they not win, this would have ruined my birthday, my whole day, and I would have been fucking pissed. But the fact that most of the jury had common sense to vote for the obvious winner, the obvious game player, it was really refreshing because I really thought they could have given it to Eva. Mary voted for Eva because she's dumb as fuck. Cedric voted for Joe because he's dumb as fuck.
Star voted for
Eva because she's fucking, oh my god.
I'm like, do you want to lick her pussy? Or I mean, like, what do you?
There is really no reason why she would have voted for Eva besides like, fuck. I feel like I've already put all my eggs.
Done this.
I've already put all my eggs into the Eva basket. I might as well give her the win.
Yeah.
But those are like three of the dumbest people on the show, or at least like that made the most amount of mistakes. I wouldn't say Mary as much, but like Cedric, I felt like was just fucking losing in every direction. Everyone was lying to him. Um, who was the other one? Star. She had no alliances. Nobody liked her really until she started like making jokes. Um,
Nobody wanted to work with
yeah,
her.
nobody wanted to work with her. Like these are just outliers that weren't really playing the game. And I mean, a lot of the other people weren't really playing the game either, like Mitch. But he even had the common sense to be like, well, yeah, Kyle's obviously the winner here.
Yeah.
And the reunion or like the after chit chat wasn't very eventful. Again, it was Jeff kind of trying to get another moment before the season
Yeah,
ends.
I can't even think of a single moment that stood out to me.
Yeah.
Except for when he asked now if Kamilla was in the final three. And who was it that answered? Was it Star?
It was either Star or
I think it was
Shaheen.
Star. I think it was Star. She answered saying that Kamilla would have won it. Every single person would have voted for Kamilla. Yeah. Which is so funny because I think that Joe and Eva didn't think at all about jury management, which is what Kamilla was saying the entire time. Like, yeah. You guys are doing a super poor job of thinking about who's going to be on the jury. That. Yeah, and it's true. Like, Joe and Eva continued doing that. And it's just funny to see how it panned out. Joe literally thought he had it in the bag and he got one vote. And even that
from the
was
dumbest fucking player on the season.
It was just a throwaway. Like, Jeff did mention that it's super rare for all three finalists to get at least a vote. And it is true. Like, most of the time, one person doesn't get a single vote.
But you also casted the biggest fucking misfits of idiots I've ever seen in my entire life. So, yeah, you're going to get somebody like Cedric who's going to vote for fucking Joe of all people.
It was just funny. Like, and to think, like, if Say had been on the jury, Joe wouldn't have gotten
Had Say been on the jury, had Charity been on the jury, really the only person that was the voice of reason was fucking Chrissy. She was the only one that was calling out the bullshit and being like, yo, you guys are just, like, not playing the game. And I'm so glad that it was pointed out and that it was like highlighted that, you know, you guys are not playing the game. You guys are just fucking coasting. But that's it for Survivor season 49. 48. They actually showed a clip for 49. Didn't really give us anything. There's two gay guys, one old guy, one strong guy.
There is a cast reveal for season 50
next week. Who fucking cares? I mean, why do it? Just do it today. Like, why are we waiting for ABC?
Because they have to give season 49 their moment.
I don't fuck their moment. I don't care. I want to know who it is. I'm actually surprised they're doing it now. I thought they would do it at the end of season.
I didn't think they would be doing 49. It this fast.
So that's it for Reality Armchair. For us, for this season,
Survivor season 48.
Oh my god, for Survivor season 48.
I think we're gonna get back into some record videos. So
we'll get some record videos.
Check us out on TikTok and Instagram for that.
Yeah.
And you want reaction to albums? Is what you're thinking?
I'll probably start uploading. We have a catalog of like reactions that we did before Vienna was even born.
When I was pregnant.
So
which was the reason why I'm sure that the person who commented.
Saying,
what did the days left mean?
Yeah, they thought I was gonna kill myself, and they probably thought I was gonna do a murder suicide.
Probably.
No, it was just her due date. I thought it was cool to time lapse like where she was. But yeah, I have a backlog of footage of reactions of albums, so I'll upload them. And if
maybe we should do a Kendrick one because we're going to a Kendrick concert.
Yeah, maybe we'll do GNX. I don't know if you'd like it though. It's very West Coast.
Well, no, I'm saying we'll upload one of our Kendrick reactions.
Yeah. The Miss Summer on the Big Steppers is probably one of my favorite reactions we've done.
I'd actually like to re-listen to it because I like it way more than the very first time I heard it. Okay. But
I do think that I think actually for some of them we should definitely do like a redux. I think you didn't appreciate Good Kid, Mad City as much as you could have when we first listened to it because I
still don't know if I would change much.
Well, it's a very like I
think Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is absolutely my favorite album of his.
Well, yeah, I mean it's so deep, but so we'll do that, and I think we're not even close to. I mean, we're kind of getting close to October, but I want to make a tradition of like making horror themed content around October. So stick around to October. We'll make some horror content. I do want to make more reviews and maybe even reactions to horror. Guys, I think we've uploaded Hereditary, our reaction, and we recorded our reaction to Midsommar. So we'll dabble in more content like that and see what the reception is and try to cater to what people want to see and what we want to upload as well. No,
I don't want to cater.
Cater as in like take what people are watching and seeing the reaction and seeing what we could work on and like what they like and try to like build off of that, but mostly off of I
know what you're saying. I just don't want to do that.
I also at the end of the day just want to make content that I'm proud of or that we're proud of.
We literally did this entire season for us, not
exactly
for anybody else.
I just want to make content that we're proud of and that we can look back on and be like, oh, I'm glad we did that. And I feel like, especially horror, I mean, horror and music is something that I feel like at least rap is something that you have not been tapped into.
Absolutely.
So it's like a whole new world to you, like horror and
somewhat. I mean,
horror and music, or not music, but rap is like this foreign.
I don't know how much more rap you're gonna get me into because you said, Kendrick Lamar is very different than any other rapper.
That is true, and he is cream of the crop, but there are definitely.
Well, you started with the highest. How do you think I'm gonna go?
Well, no, there are definitely some that are on that level and that have made albums that transcend the rap genre.
I do think that Kanye, we had this discussion on one of them, but Kanye West is very talented, but he is absolutely insane, and I will not ever listen to his music ever again.
What?
Yeah.
You wouldn't do a reaction on Kanye's music?
No, not at this point.
It's so good though. It's so good.
I lost any
I shouldn't have kept you
I just can't.
I shouldn't have kept you updated on what he was doing. It's so good though. It's some of the best music you'll ever hear.
I can't. Sorry.
Okay, well.
At this point I cannot separate artist versus person. At this point.
I'm so committed that
when we first had this discussion, I could separate the artist versus the person. But I can't anymore.
I guess it's fair. I'm so deep into it because I've been listening to Kanye my entire life, but that's unfortunate because I think we could have made some pretty good content with Kanye, or at least reacting to his content or his music.
Yeah, it's a bummer. He's such an idiot and absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And a racist.
Racist Nazi.
Yeah.
I think he's actually grifting. I don't think he's actually racist. I think he's grifting. Either way, it's horrible, and I think it's deplorable, and I think, honestly, I would rather him have died.
Didn't he push for North to do something that she was uncomfortable with, or she was?
No.
What was it?
Kim was protesting North being on a song with Diddy.
Yes.
Which is pretty bad.
You think? I think the other content we talked about was like some true crime.
Oh, I do want to make true crime content.
So
I think that would be interesting.
Now we're just talking out loud for.
Yeah, we're just talking out loud. Good night, everybody. This is Reality Armchair. We'll see you guys next season of Survivor or next season of Traders or Challenge, whatever comes first.
And you can comment and say what you want us to.
Maybe Love is Blind. Yeah, maybe if you're like, hey, you guys should react to Big Brother. We probably won't do that, but if you want us to react to like Amazing Race, maybe. Yeah. No, probably not Amazing Race either. I don't know. Just let us know if you want to see the challenge.
That's what you're gonna leave it on? No, just comment what you want to see, and we'll decide if we are gonna do it or not.
Yes. Okay. Good night.
Yeah, you got real drunk there with 2 beers.
It's 9% alcohol.